So welcome to Newcastle Central. Had a very exciting delivery in the mail here today. This is the new Hornby Class 43 HST pack. It's got the digital TTS sound built in with the Valenta engine sound on it. So I pre-ordered this quite some time ago now, and a lot of the driving force behind Newcastle Central was from my childhood days of running up and down the East Coast main line on the Intercity 125s and then later the 225s. And so there's just always been something very stuck in my mind about the HSTs in Black Swall library like this. So I've been very excited to finally get my hands on this. I pre-ordered this months and months ago. Finally made it out after just about 2 months delay for Hornby, which actually isn't too bad. Unfortunately, there's a wreck of Mark III coaches as well that were meant to be getting released at the same time. Hornby and their infinite wisdom have decided that they aren't quite ready for production yet, so they haven't shipped out yet. They haven't been released, so I've got this wonderful Class 43 pair, and don't actually have the new Mark III coaches to go with it. But we can at least check out the loco. We can try and figure out some coaches how we can hook up to it, so at least get it running and see what it would look like. Once those new Mark IIIs come out, then it should be pretty cool. Let's check this out, see how it looks, see how it sounds as well. I think a lot of people are very interested in what the Valenta engine sounds like through the TTS sound chips and speakers that are in this. So let's open it up and have a look. Okay, so this is the Power Car 43079. It's very nice, very heavy. A lot of weight to the motor. Overall, pretty happy with it, pretty impressed. There are just a couple of things that I'm a little unsure of, kind of out of the box. I know how to tell, but there's a little bit of a silver paint speck on the white line that goes across, and then on the wheels themselves, you can see on here. I think it's just they've probably put a little bit too much lubricating oil in the motor, and so it looks like some of that is coming off the wheel. It's the same on the other wheel. It does kind of rub off, but they've probably put a little bit too much on here, so hopefully it doesn't cause too many problems. Otherwise, it is very nice looking loco. It's probably a little bit too clean, actually. You can see on top, very clean on top there. But the detailing on it is very good, even down to the warning signs around there as well. So overall, that one looks very nice. I'll kind of shuffle this one off to the side, and we'll move in the unpowered car. So Goldwyn Festival in Penzance. I think the box was originally saying that previous name would have been Shildon, County Durham, which would be a lot more appropriate for Newcastle Central. So I'm not sure the actual history of this rod number. I need to look into that a little bit more. I kind of feel like this would have been leaning more on the West Coast main line. So it might have had some periods of time on the East Coast main line. Again, I'll need to check on that. So we'll see. These are very nice units, and again, because it's kind of a pain to try and find these Hornby HSTs with digital TTS sound fitted and stuff like that. You can see in the background I've got some of the older Hornby Lima Class 43s. So I've got Intercity in Swallow Grey, and then just behind that I've got in BR Blue. But I do really like this livery. Maybe seem a little bit silly to have two of them. We'll see how they run. But what I might end up doing is either renumbering this and potentially renaming it back to Shildon, County Durham, or if I was to pick up a second unit, then I would almost certainly do that, just so that I could have the two of them going, and one of them would have that much more northeast connection. But rather than just looking, and again, not really any blemishes on this one. There's very small slight overspray of black paint here, but that's pretty much it. That's all that there is. It's always really easy to try and nitpick and find the small faults and flaws on these, but I think certainly once you compare them to some of the older things like those Hornby Lima HSTs from the 80s, 1980s, these are far superior, obviously. But for how much you cost, for how much they cost, for how much you spend on them, you are always going to look and try and find one or two little faults. But in general, I don't really think that's too much of a problem. That little overspray there, and the same with the silver that we had on a little bit of the white band that would run through there. I don't know if I will ever dare going ahead and weathering these locos, but if they do, it's probably not going to make that much of a difference, and it's really only when you're up close that you see it. But enough of listening to me talk. Let's get the powered car back on, and then we can hear what these actually sound like with those digital TTS chips and the Valenta engine sounds. Okay, so let's see if we can get this actually making some noise. Not sure how well, obviously, it's going to come over on the microphone here, on the camera. One thing I have found when I was playing with a little bit, you know, the TTS sound chips and the speakers that come with them are a little tinny. A lot of people do often replace them with iPhone speakers or something that's got a little bit more bass reflex to them. So no, do bear that in mind. You know, I'm not going to blow you away with the bass on those, but I think that it sounds pretty good. So let's see if we can get a cold start going. Once you have it going, you can then kick it up. So that's cold start. So let's now switch it down. And you see a little bit of that crackle might be coming through the speaker right at the end there as it goes off. I have noticed that when the engine shuts down. Let's try and now do a warm start. That's the warm start, then sitting on idle. Let's thrash it a little bit. Everyone wants to hear the Valenta. It's the somewhat distinctive noise of the Valentas as the turbos are spooling up. You can also notch up as well, so let's notch up. And you can bring that back down. So overall, the engine sounds pretty good. That's now just, you know, has it's chilling on idle. Again, it is a little bit tinny. There's not a huge amount of bass to this, but it is good. It is definitely you know, an HST. I don't know if I would quite say it's the Valenta, but it's pretty close. Again, you got to remember that this is just a Hornby TTS. This isn't Lego Man Biffa Sounds or anything like that. So let's check out the horns. So the high-low horn. And then the high-low-high. So overall, I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, again, I do like the sound of that. So overall, quite happy with that. Again, I haven't actually ran this in a whole lot, so it's stuttering a little bit. You know, it does need to go through and run. I know what the Hornby are recommending for this. I normally do at least 30-40 minutes in each direction, you know, just to kind of bed all everything in on the gears, get all that lubricant moving around. So I am going to go and check out the non-powered car as well, just so we can hear what they sound like too. Okay, so let's listen to some of the sounds here on the non-powered cab. So let's get the loco started up again. So this is just the warm start as opposed to the cold start that we did on the driving loco. So some of the other sounds you can do, so there is a compressor. Not a whole lot to that. The fans. There are some different horns that you can do. Not my favorite one, but now there are then some other ones that you can do. I don't know how well they're going to come across on the camera. I guess it's more that if you're doing, kind of close-up videos, there's things like the windshield wipers. Let's see if I can get those going. They're very, very quiet, but I promise you they are there. There we go. That might be a little bit easy to pick up. What else was there? So then AWS test, so that would be some, in the cab as you were going over some of the AWS sensors, and I have some of those on the track. You can also do the guard's whistle, so that's one that probably would be used. That's one that I would use quite a bit. Fire bell test, again, these are all, excuse me, these are all kind of odd ones that would be just within the cab. I'm not quite sure at what point I'll be using these ones while they're kind of on the layout. Another one that might be on the layout would be the wheel flange. So there are some, excuse me, I can't really talk tonight. So there are some, good sounds on that as well. And again, these are both identical in terms of the sounds that they play. I was just using that first driving loco to do more of the engine sounds, but there are a bunch of accessory sounds, 24 in total, that you can do. So I'm going to start to run these in now, trying to figure out what coaches I'm going to put onto these, since, like I say, Hornby decided in their infinite wisdom not to release the actual new Mark III coaches, and we'll try and get some running shots of this so you can see and hear what it would be like as it's moving around Newcastle Central. Okay then, so apologies in advance, because I know that someone's going to call me out on this, because they have in the past. Yes, these are Mark IV coaches. Yes, this is the Class 43. Yes, this is not prototypical, but again, really all that I have a wreck of coaches, other than those shoddy Mark IIIs, are these Mark IVs that I typically run with my Class 91, the Intercity 225. So at least for now, until Hornby figure out those new Mark III coaches, this is what I'm running. I do actually have some of the older Lima Mark III coaches, and I think there's actually, eventually I've got the Hornby Buffet coach as well, Mark III, so the actual correct length ones, as opposed to the shorty Mark IIIs. That's on the HST blue that you can see on that next platform. So I do have some of those Lima Mark IIIs, but I have some problem with the couplers on them, and I need to replace the wheels on them. All these Mark IV coaches have got replacement wheels on them, Bachmann wheels, so they just run an awful lot smoother, and so I know that these are going to be okay. So I hope you enjoy. It's a little bit of a running session, pulling out of the platform and some shots of it moving through the platform, then coming into a stop. Overall, very, very good model from Hornby. Worth the wait, I think. I really like the livery. I know that there's some people had really been wanting this Swallow livery. I was definitely one of those. So overall, very nice model. I do like it. I don't know about the speakers long term. I think it needs a little bit more bass to those speakers, but definitely something that I'm glad I picked up, and can't wait for those real Hornby Mark III coaches to show up. So if you've enjoyed this, if you've enjoyed seeing some of the other locos that I've got in the background there, I do have a couple of other Class 43s, that Class 91, then got some DMUs that are hanging out there, but I've been going through and slowly building up Newcastle Central, so this is kind of the state of where we're at now. So subscribe and follow along. You can hit the bell so you can get notifications as new videos come through. Let me know what you think of this HST. Have you got one? Are you looking at getting one? Are those Hornby Mark III coaches the way that you will go? And yeah, look forward to being back soon with some of the signal work that I've been working on out here in the shed. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.